So, there's being fashionably late and there's this kind of late. I know. Atomfall came out back in March, and well, to be honest with you, with all the games that's been coming out, with all the other content, with my normal work and family, it just kept falling further and further behind. And by the time I got to finish it, which was a few weeks ago, I was thinking to myself, is it too late now? Then they announced the DLC and the fact that it's no longer part of the Game Pass, and I was thinking to myself, right, maybe it's actually a good time to do a quick review of my general experience and my thoughts on the game. So in case if you're on the fence and you're thinking of maybe jumping in and buying the DLC or maybe even playing it, give you my thoughts on and my take on it. So my name is Arya with a quick review of Atomfall. So without further delay, let's get right to it. When they showcased Atomfall for the first time, with those trailers and the subsequent ones, honestly, me and my friends were buzzing. Fallout set outside the United States properly for the first time, Microsoft involved, Bethesda might be involved, cannot wait. And here's the thing, the influence of Fallout on this game, undeniable. You literally wake up, let's just call it what it was, vault, and you open up a door and you get that classic look that you get with Fallout as well. But just before that, you actually get a cinematic video that tells you, no, hang on a second, this is not set in a Fallout world, there's no war, there's no bombs, this is actually a nuclear disaster set in a specific area in England. I was thinking, alright, that's cool. We've had loads of these, disaster games, still gonna be this kind of post-apocalyptic feel, big environments, lots of interactions, cannot wait. But as I mentioned, as soon as I opened the door, got the light, I was like, wait, that hill looks unclimbable, and that's in a very close proximity. Oh, hang on, that wall also looks very close. And that's clearly the limitations. What's going on? Surely I'm in a corner of the map. Well, no I wasn't. Because the environments are pretty tiny and there's like 4 of them. And, well, I would say probably quite a few, they've sort of bunkers and that sort of thing. And another couple of areas that you get introduced to, but 4 primary ones. But anyhow, I thought to myself, that's okay, let's just see how the game works out. And I would say it took me about 24 to 27 hours to do about 75 to 80% of the stuff that I could do in the game. And probably if you want to kind of blitz through the story, it's about 11 to 12 hours, I would say. But anyways, in terms of the story itself, I thought it was great. In terms of the delivery, in terms of the quest, in terms of the choices that you get to make. I love the characters, I love the world in terms of what the concept is, and again that is transitioned into the main story where you get multiple endings. But here's the thing, as much as you might think that you need to play the whole game to get every ending, kind of, because what I did was I made certain choices, and by the time I got towards the sort of latter end of the game, only about 2 hours left, pretty much, yeah, except one faction, pretty much I could choose between most of the endings, and that kind of devalued it a little bit for me in terms of like choices being important and matter, but still kind of, I would say, anyhow, and I did enjoy it. But that's where it kind of stops, in a sense that the rest of the game is nowhere near as good, in my opinion. When it comes to environments, you got this very old design. Let's just say there's no day and night cycle. You can make an excuse. Avowed didn't have it. Lots of MMOs don't have it. But I was like, these environments are quite limited and they're separated. And again, every building that you're going into, even a small shop, you get in these loading screen. Like, really? Like, surely this is something that's basic. Oblivion had it like 20 years ago, but okay. But then again, you go into these ponds, for example, you walk in the water and immediately attacked by these ills, or you go into a cave, You're immediately attacked by these loads of bats and so on if you go to this specific area. So the game forces you to do what it asks, what it's asking you or telling you, let's just say. Even to a degree that you literally walk up to a door or walk up to a hole, you cannot do anything unless the game gives you that prompt with the button to press to do that action. I literally had a mace in my hand and I was trying to smash this board, just a single board, or even like a window. Nothing was happening. It was just, I was like, what? Are we going back in time to like 20 odd years ago? What's happening? It's insane. And the environments, there is literally no quick travel at all. There's no fast travel point in any of the areas whatsoever. It is insanely annoying because most of the time I was just doing a walking simulation. I was like, right, this quest is telling me go back, forth. So let me tell you, the game that took me 27 hours, as I said, to complete, I probably could have done all of that in 19 hours if there was some form of a quick travel or something that I could just basically not having to walk literally all the time. It was so boring, and at times I was starting to enjoy the game, then it was taken down right back to earth by the stupid walking mechanic. And then again, this transitions to a very outdated combat system in my opinion as well, because you got lots of different weapons. At first it's absolutely fine because you got this limited inventory because it's a survival game, which I was thinking it was like Fallout because I like to collect lots of stuff, but that was fine. But then because you got these upgrade system that you can upgrade your characters, there's always gonna be these specific ones that everybody will go for, including upgrading your weapon, because if you upgrade your weapons, especially the single shot rifles, they are an absolute must-have. Once I had that, I was even destroying the giant robots within less than a minute. They possessed no challenge whatsoever to me. The only time that I started to kind of find it a little bit more challenging was right at the back end of the game, and at the start, as I mentioned. But probably you end up having one melee weapon, your rifle and your bow to be silenced, and maybe another weapon just to not run out of bullets. The rest of the weapons, they just got chucked away because frankly the automatic ones are a waste, because when you kill an enemy that's been shooting at you for like past 30 seconds and seems to have infinite ammo, when you kill them they drop one bullet most of the time. It is annoying. And the crafting mechanics and so on, they are there, but again, alright, very basic. And when it comes to the economy of the game as well, games have economies for a reason. When you go and actually trade in this game, there's no caps, there's no pounds, there's nothing. You literally give an item to a trader, and there's like this sort of weight thing in the middle, and it's got to be green for the trade to complete, and it's always in favor of the person that you're doing the trade with rather than you. So because if you give them more, you can finish the trade because it will still stay on green. But if you give them slightly less, no, you cannot complete it at all. Which you can say, alright, that's just normally with games and whatever. But the problem that you're going to find is, at the start it works, but when you get to the latter half of the game, you get valuable items, you give it, and you only want one plant from the actual trader itself, because the rest of the items, you can literally craft them very easily, you just don't need them at all. And well, that item is worth a hell of a lot, but that item that he has worth hardly anything comparative, but you still have got to do it. And you're like, okay, brilliant. Or you have to give a ton of items to him just to get one item back, but you got a limited stock. And because you do not have any storage in like towns or with you, and you got limited access in terms of your normal inventory, then you're stuffed, because you have to, there is like any storage, but these in these vaults, and you have to go walk to these vaults or this or location, get multiple like loading screens until eventually you find one, grab the items that you want, and come back. It's just a pain. There's so much back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And this is where it gets disappointing for me, because the idea of the game is fantastic. The delivery in terms of the story and the quest, the concept of it, brilliant. But it feels like there's not enough love being given to it. It seems that it's made by like 10 people at times. It's just so outdated, so basic, that it just made me sad to a degree, because I love the concept, as I mentioned, and I think it should have been given to a bigger developer if this developer was thinking, no, we're not good enough for it, or maybe these guys are potentially that they could have been a support group or something, because, well, in my opinion, it's a missed opportunity. And if somebody asks me, yeah, if you got Game Pass, you don't mind very, very old mechanics of early 2000s, yeah, it's fine, but it's gameplay wise, it's meh. You only want to really, in my opinion, play it for the immersion and the story. That's literally is it. Otherwise, it's very, very basic. And as I said, I would still say it's an okay game. And when it comes to the DLC, I wouldn't pay for money for it. I would watch somebody play the game itself and see if it still is a walking simulator that I experience. And if that's the case, guys, there's so many good games coming out at the moment and are out on Game Pass that you got much better choices, and you're probably better off waiting for other stuff coming out later in the year, or maybe or going through this library of the stuff that are kind of out right now and saving up later in the year to maybe, if you really, really want to play it, just to get the DLC for a couple of quid. That's it. Anyways, I hope you have enjoyed this review and it's helped you. And if it has, smash that like button, because you're awesome like that. And please do subscribe. I will be playing Dune The Awakening, and that is not going to be late. Don't worry, because it's an MMO. I'm just going to do a quick review of the early thoughts on it, and that is going to be my review on it, and that will be out very soon. I believe it's coming out tomorrow anyways. And there are going to be loads more videos on gaming tech, streaming, and all sorts of other stuff as well. So do look forward to them. But once again, hope you're doing fantastic wherever you are, and peace.